This is the story of my mechanic ex-boyfriend. Hey y'all, I'm Acid Ronnie, and today I'm coming to y'all from the floor because my sciatica is hurting a little extra today. So I'll probably be moving around a lot. I made a reel recently talking about my mechanic ex-boyfriend, the guy who helped me with my diva cup. I've actually made a few videos about him. I had a video that went viral talking about communicating your kinks, in which I talked about how I asked him straight up, how would you feel about me fucking other guys? To which he responded, the thought of that disgusts me. And for some reason, everybody just assumed I was either forcing him into cuckolding or he just was a cuck. Neither of which is true. Anyways, I always talk about him really positively and everybody always asks, so why did y'all break up? So let's get into the story. The story is actually so chaotic, but so are like all of my dating stories. I had been living in France for about 2.5 months. I lived in Agen, which is this tiny little city that like everybody in France is like, why would you ever go there? But I went there as an au pair and my main objective was to learn French. So I wanted to go to buttfuck nowhere where nobody spoke a word of English. But obviously that made me pretty lonely. So I got on Hinge with absolutely no intention of actually meeting or dating these guys. This is right after I'd kind of started my healing process from all my terrible relationships. So I was trying to do celibacy, no dating, whatever. So I would set my location on Hinge as big cities around France because all I wanted to do was talk to people around there, understand what French people are like, but also to practice French. But I came across his profile and I thought he was super cute, so I sent him a like. I messaged him immediately, like, your smile is so cute. His smile was literally my favorite thing about him. He didn't reply, and a couple days later, I was kind of already over Hinge. I don't know why, but in France, everyone is so sexual so fast, and I did not like it. But like 3 days later, he finally messaged me back, saying something like, you're really cute too. I saw the message and didn't reply because I was over Hinge. A few hours later, he messages me again saying, I can help you with French if you want. To which I had to reply because that's the only reason I was even on the app. That night, we were talking for hours. He said something like, oh, maybe you can help me with my English. So I was under the impression that he doesn't know English. We were mainly talking in French. And literally starting the next day, he was sending me good morning messages. We just started talking a bunch for like 10 days and I liked him. So for the 2.5 months that I'd been living in France, I never took some time to go on a weekend trip or anything. And your girl likes to travel. So I was like, cool, this weekend, let me go to a big city far away. He lived about 2 hours away from me. I'd been wanting to go to Toulouse anyway. So I was like, fuck it, let me go. I messaged him. I'm like, hey, I want to come to Toulouse this weekend. And he's like, yeah, please come. I would love to show you around. And if you want, you can stay here. I was like, look, I want to chill with you, but I need to clarify this. Does me coming over to your house and possibly staying with you mean that you expect sex from me? Because I'm not in a place to have sex with anyone. And if that's your expectation, I totally understand. I would love to meet you. I just won't come to your house. To which he was like, no, absolutely not. You can stay here and you don't have to have sex with me. That's not what I'm looking for either. Cool. I met him that weekend and we immediately vibed. He's like, I want to cook for you. And I wanted to drink wine that night, so I got a bottle. Honestly, he was an amazing cook. I was so impressed. I get hammered out of my mind. The night was really fuzzy for me. The next morning, I woke up in his bed. I was hungover and disoriented. I see him asleep and I'm like, oh my God, what the fuck happened? Then the night started coming back to me. I remembered us cuddling, making out, and then I remembered he asked me to be his girlfriend. And I said yes. So I freak out and I call my friend and I was like, oh my gosh, I came here for the weekend to have a good time and I woke up with a boyfriend. I was not ready for this. And you guys, I'm a commitment phobe. My girl was like, Tanya, calm down. You live like 2 hours away from him. Just go back home and tell him you want to take things slow. And I was like, you're right. I can totally be rational about this. When he woke up, he was all cute and loving to me and I was like, hey. I brought it up that I barely remembered anything from the night before. His face like kind of got small. Mind you, I was supposed to spend the whole weekend there and it's only Saturday. And I did like him. I wanted to hang out with him. It's just that it went too fast for me. We didn't really address the whole girlfriend thing. We just kind of chilled that day very normally. The next morning, I left. It was cool though. We had a really good time. So the next day, I messaged him and I was like, hey, listen, I really like you. I know I said I'll be your girlfriend. I'm still down, but can we please take things slow? And he was like, absolutely. Let's go as slow as you want. And I was like, okay, cool. How about I come see you in 2 weeks from now? And he immediately sent me 60 euros and he was like, use this for whenever you want to come see me. That Friday, I got into a huge fight with the kid that I would babysit. I was also on my period and I was super emotional and frustrated. And the way that the family handled it, I immediately started crying. I was just so upset. So I called my ex crying. Mind you, this is the first time I've ever called him. He was like, I'll come pick you up right now. I was like, are you serious? No, you won't. It's a 2-hour drive. He's like, I'll walk out of the house right now. Okay. I packed my shit. Within 90 minutes, he was there. We go back to his place. I'm stressing out. He goes, Tanya, if anything goes wrong with this family, you're more than welcome to come stay with me as long as you want. I was like, thanks, that's sweet, but I'm gonna try to figure it out with them. The next day they fired me. He like was happy about it. He's like, so where do you live now? At night he drives me back. I pick up everything from the house. At this point, we barely even speak each other's language. I'm like, I know this is crazy, but I do need to warn you. These kind of crazy moments are very normal in my life. So if at any point this gets too much for you, please tell me. I will leave you alone. So yeah, that was the story of how I moved in with my boyfriend of 1 week. So we're living together. We're having so much fucking fun. We listen to the same music, smoke up all the time. We both are amazing cooks. It was so ideal for me. A week later, we both take ecstasy. He tells me he loves me. And then he goes, I will travel anywhere in the world with you. I will leave France. I told him I loved him back because I actually did. But this set the tone for the relationship because I was like, bet, if you are willing to travel with me, we can actually think about the future. Which is why he's the first boyfriend ever that I actually considered forever with. So basically, this was our relationship. We lived together. We spent all of our free time together. Within a month, we were actually sharing a bank account. My bank account. He sent me his paycheck randomly one day. I was like, why'd you do this? He was like, I'm just not good with money, so maybe you can manage it for me. After the 1 month mark, he quit his job, which freaked me the fuck out because I wasn't working. I was broke. Why would you randomly do this with no backup plan? He gave me some excuse like, I quit my job because my boss isn't ethical. I don't like working for him. I'll find another job. Da 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 da. This was actually our first fight ever. It wasn't even a fight because he had this problem where every time I brought up something that was stressing me out or just serious in general, he would shut down, start crying, start yelling and screaming and just freaking the fuck out. And he would do this publicly. Like we were walking home from the grocery store and I brought up that, what are we gonna do? And he was like, Tanya, we're gonna move to Portugal. My grandma grows her own food. We can live there. We don't have to spend anything. I was like, that's totally fine. We can do that, but we still need a better plan. So of course he started crying, screaming, yelling on the street. I had to go from me stressing out to soothing him and nothing came out of that conversation. So he started job hunting, working from home, fixing cars in his garage. So we had money for like survival. I also started working, nannying kids, whatever. We were definitely very financially stressed. As time went on, I found out the truth. He had like some sort of debt from years ago and collections had been after him for so long. Finally, they went to his work, the one he quit from, and told his boss that they're gonna start taking money out of his paycheck to pay off this debt. The debt, at least the number he told me, was not even that much. It was like 4,000 euros. We can work that off. That's very doable. But his solution was to quit his job. He had been getting letters to his house, court dates for months before. Honestly, his problem solving was terrible. That was the reason he sent money into my bank account. Not because he wanted me to manage it, but because he was scared that the government was going to take it out of his. All red flags that I did not see at that time. I still love this guy. I'm still thinking about a future with him for whatever reason. And since the second month of the relationship, we're supposed to be planning to move to Portugal. He took no initiative. He wasn't contacting his family. The only reason we were staying in France was because he wanted to go on unemployment, which made no sense to me because I was like, why would you get government money if the government wants your money? It didn't make sense, but he was like, just trust me, just trust me. He didn't take his unemployment seriously. He didn't take our Portugal plan seriously. Oh, and also he was a drug addict. And also very soon after me moving in, he got a roommate for the other room. Although they were friends for like 6 years, this guy was a coke head. He did cocaine every single day. And anyone who knows me knows I do not fuck with coke. I hate coke. I hate being around coke. Every weekend, we were just doing drugs in his house, whether that was ecstasy, ketamine. He did it way more than I did. But there was always some sort of party or rave scene going on over there. Anyways, a few months after dating, I'm like, dude, we need to make Portugal happen. What is the scene? Mind you, at this point, I've never even talked to his mom on the phone. Finally, he calls his mom and he comes back to me and he's like, Tanya, I think we should go to Portugal first. See how things go. Let them meet you and then we can come back and pack everything and move. I was like, yeah, that's totally valid. Why didn't you tell me this before? Why did you promise me that we can just move there and not even think about this? Why did your mom have to tell you that this is the right way to go about it? We go to Portugal finally, but he lost his driver's license the day before and he didn't have a passport. He was able to fly to Portugal with just his birth certificate. We make it to Portugal. We're supposed to get his driver's license and his passport made so that he could, travel the world like he told me he would. The entire time he is not taking it seriously. Actually, the day we reached Portugal, he got coke. That was his priority. I got really annoyed with how he was not taking this seriously at all. I took my flight back to France and I was like, dude, I need to leave you because as long as I'm by your side, I'm enabling your lazy ass behavior. So I took a little solo trip to Italy. Finally, he gets his passport made or whatever. We meet up again. But after spending spending time with his family, I realized the situation over there is complicated. They're very sweet, absolutely, but it wasn't a situation I would feel comfortable living in long term. But honestly, it was fine because I told him, fuck Europe, let's go live in Latin America. This has been my dream forever. Plus, I want to learn Portuguese for you because that's your native tongue. I have to learn it. So why don't we shift to Brazil? And he was like, that's a great idea. I love this. So we started dating in January. At this point, it's May. And since we're planning to move out of that house, I was like, dude, we need to sell everything here. We can't take this with us. So I had already planned for us to travel Italy a month. He agreed, and I'd even booked our tickets to go. By the end of May, I was like, dude, we leave in 2 fucking weeks. When are you gonna sell this shit? So at that point, I got involved and I started selling everything, and he would cry about it and this and that, but he agreed to it. I don't even understand. Finally, I got rid of everything in his house. Also, by the end, I asked him, I was like, dude, how do you have money to pay rent? He was like, I pay rent, don't worry about it. Yeah, it turns out he hadn't paid rent in like 3 months. We go to Italy, and the first 2 weeks, we had like 1,000 euros or some shit. Now, I'm a very budget traveler. When I had gone to Italy for 2.5 weeks before, in the entire time, I only spent 75 euros because I was volunteering, doing work for free stay and food, which is exactly my plan for both of us. Yeah, my ex was not as low maintenance as I was. He desperately needed weed and was high maintenance with what food he ate. We blew through that 1,000 euros in 2 weeks, which is insane to me because I never spend that much even if I'm traveling. But we still have 2 more weeks left in Italy, right? So we go to another place where we're supposed to volunteer for free stay. We beefed it out with the guy, and I was like, fuck, what are we gonna do? We don't have money. At that point, I was like, fuck it. I'm gonna use my credit card and think about it later. And he told me, he's like, Tanya, whatever money you rack up on your credit card, don't worry, we'll both pay it off. So he's still buying weed, spending on drugs. Plus, we start traveling around Italy together, and I'm just swiping my card like a fucking idiot. Anything he wanted, I'm swiping my card for it, and he was way more expensive than I was. But his drug addiction just drove me insane. Like, I remember one day we were at the beach, and he wanted cocaine so badly. He made me make a Tinder account and try to talk to guys to find it for him. He also got on Tinder, had no luck. Then he got a girl's picture from the internet and tried to make a Tinder account himself. I'm literally at the beach, and I'm like, dude, can you hang out with me? He's sitting on the sand, desperately looking for drugs. On top of that, he was just so emotionally high maintenance, no emotional regulation. I planned out the entire trip. I was trying to keep costs low. I was booking everything. He did not participate in helping me at all. Instead, all he would do was crib about, oh, this place wasn't good enough. Oh, I didn't like that place. Oh, this was too expensive. But then if I picked a cheaper place, oh, I don't like the location. Oh, I don't like how this place looks. All he did was fucking complain. He was like a full-time job for me. At the end of that trip, I would literally take cash out of my bank account, give him the money, and be like, here, take the money and leave me the fuck alone. But he wouldn't do that. He would follow me around. He would be crying hysterically on the street, screaming publicly for my attention. It was awful. So at the end of Italy, I was like, you go back home to France. I'm gonna take a vacation from you. And I went to Austria. Things settled down. We were fine again. But while I'm in Austria, my sister was like, Tanya, I need you to come to America ASAP. I go back to France, but the problem was I had already sent all of my stuff to Portugal, thinking I was gonna spend the summer there. So now me and him have to go all the way to Portugal, collect all my stuff. It was just such a disaster. Once again, we're traveling together, and he was just miserable. He was making my life awful. Everything with him was so good when we were living together in his house. When he had money, things were stable, because I didn't realize how high maintenance he was. Because when I was living with him, I had nothing else to do. So the full-time job that was maintaining him, I was able to take it on without realizing how much it actually drained me. The second I had my own things to worry about, oh my gosh, I couldn't manage him, bro. I grabbed my stuff, we come back to France, and I'm flying to London. At the airport, Ryanair charged me for my bag or something. I was freaking out, and I called my boyfriend. All I needed him to do was calm me down for 5 minutes and be like, Tanya, it's okay. We're gonna figure out the money. Breathe, all that stuff. Instead, he sees that I'm shaking when I call him. He goes, listen, I gotta go because my friend just made dinner. We're about to eat. Talk to you later. He did shit like this all the time. He was never, ever, ever there for me emotionally. He kind of treated me like how you would treat a car or something. Oh, she's fed, she's taken care of. Cool, my job is done. He didn't actually see my emotions, my dreams, what I wanted out of life. He didn't even listen to my stories, bro. It was so sad how little he knew about me. He would talk about himself forever and ever and ever. And in the beginning, I didn't mind because I wanted to learn French, so I liked that I was learning like that. But as I learned French, I realized he doesn't listen to me about my life at all. He didn't even know what city my parents were from. He would always start telling me stories, and the second I started telling him one of mine, he would cut me off and be like, oh, I'm hungry. Can we go talk in the kitchen? And as soon as we get into the kitchen, he doesn't even know what I was talking about. He'd start cooking, not even pay attention to me, never ask me questions about my life. I'm the type of person that conversation is very important for me. I had communicated this with him a million times. I used ChatGPT and had it translated in Portuguese. keys for how he can be a better communicator. Nothing worked. Finally, I go to London, right? I was going to a boiler room event. I bought him a ticket to London and a ticket to the event, and I booked him a ticket to Sweden after London to go visit his brother. I'm paying for everything at this point, guys. The morning he's supposed to come to London, I wake up and I see that when he tried to leave the country, he was put in jail. I was so confused. He was only in there for like a day. When he finally got out, he told me, he was like, oh, it's because of the debt. It's the debt that I have. Even the people around me were like, Tanya, this sounds really shady. But I was like, you know what? Let me give him the benefit of the doubt. Now, he did have a problem of lying in the past. He had lied to me about a lot of things. And I fucking hate lying. I always say that I hate lying more than cheating. And he would always lie so easily to me and to everybody else. So he figured out the debt thing and he was like, honestly, Tanya, it's gonna be fine. They gave me a court date. I go to America. My sister was moving across the country. We were supposed to do a road trip together. And I was like, oh my God, this is so something my boyfriend would love. He loves cars. He loves driving. I would love to show him my country and introduce him to my family. So I flew this guy out. After he came, me and my sister got into a fight. So I was like, fuck it, we're leaving. I didn't know where to go. So I was like, let's go visit my friend in Hawaii. I buy our tickets to Hawaii. Me and him stayed with my friend. We had a great time. Once again, everything's going on my card, down to his tobacco, weed, everything. But I knew when his court date was. So I was like, you need to make it for this court date because I am not risking you getting into legal trouble and then fucking up our future. Because at this point, I'm still planning on moving to Brazil. But on the way to the airport for his flight back to France, he starts bawling hysterically. And he's like, Tanya, I can't go back to France. I don't want to go back to France. I will live here illegally. I don't care. I'll live on the roads. I'll work under the table, but I can't go back. I told him, you better get on the fucking plane and make your ass to that court date, or else this is over. I drop him off at the airport. He's bawling his eyes out. He starts sending me voice notes. Tanya, please don't be mad at me if I don't make this flight. Please don't be mad at me. Please don't hate me. I go back to the airport and I was like, dude, get the fuck on the plane because you don't have a penny to your name. And if you don't make that flight, you're not staying with my friend. I'm not helping you at all. In fact, I'm blocking you and you can never contact me again. Finally, he makes his flight and his first layover was in Seattle, which is where my sister moved to. When he gets to Seattle, he calls my sister bawling, talking about, I can't go back to France. Can I please come stay with you? My sister told him, look, I love you. You can stay with me, but just know that Tanya will fucking kill you. And obviously, I have to talk to her about it first. But by the time she called me and asked me about this, he had already made it back to France. So he goes to this court date, right? And he was like, Tanya, I have good news and bad news. The good news is they removed all of my debt. All I have to do is pay them 200 euros and it's cleared. The bad news is I have some sort of community service that I have to do in January. So we can't leave until then. And I was like, that is so fine. We can work around that. We'll just move to Brazil in January. So I'm back home in California at this time. And I kept telling him, dude, can you start fucking working? Also, I had paid off my credit card at this point because I do not fuck with that interest shit. Like literally my credit score is so good. He didn't know that and I wanted him to take responsibility. So I was like, dude, you need to start working because we need to start paying off some of this credit card debt, especially considering the majority of the expenses were his. Like, dude, you got to pay off your half of all of our expenses. Honestly, at this point, he had started to kind of be mean to me. I think it was this insecurity of me paying for everything and him not having money. He started pulling me down a lot, saying, at least I have a real career. I've been a mechanic for 10 years. What do you have to show for yourself? What's your life plan? You don't have one. Like, he was so mean to me, you guys. So I told him, I was like, you need to start sending me money to pay off my credit card because there's something called interest and financial responsibility. I know you would know nothing about that considering you literally were jailed for your debt. And that's when he told me, Tanya, I need to tell you the truth. I didn't get jailed for my debt. That's not even what my court case was about. It was a domestic violence case that my ex-girlfriend put against me. Are you fucking kidding me? How could he lie about something that fucking big? He was like, but Tanya, I didn't do it. You have to believe me. But still, how could you lie to me about that? I literally told him the next day, I was like, we're broken up and I'm not talking to you again until you pay me back the money that you owe me. He was crying, going hysterical. He was like, Tanya, I can't lose you. This is when I got emotional and I booked my ticket to India. So this all happened in October. So yeah, that was how we finally broke up. But I'm terrible at not talking to my exes and he would always constantly message me and stuff like that. Never paid me back the money. But just recently, like a couple weeks ago, he'd still be telling me how he still loves me. He hasn't been happy since me, how I met him at a terrible time in his life and he promises it'll never be like that again. I was like, dude, you can't even pay me the money that you owe me and you're gonna promise me you're gonna take care of me in the future? Because that's what he said. He was like, Tanya, I want you to come to Portugal. I'll book your flight. I will take care of everything. You will not need anything while you're here. I will handle it all. How can you say this to me when you owe me 1,500 euros and you still haven't paid me back? How can you think that I will trust you for anything anything. How can you think we will ever get back together again after this? He was like, how can I regain your trust if you're not even here with me? For starters, by paying me back. And he was like, we should just let bygones be bygones and start over fresh. Dude, I'm not leaving my fucking life here in India to fucking move to Portugal for your dumbass. At the end, I was like, I don't think we should talk anymore. And I blocked him off of everything. To be honest, I feel nothing towards him, which is crazy because he was the one that I took the most seriously. I loved him so much. We were like attached at the hip. I loved being around him. I loved being with him. I have never told a guy that I dated, I love you, as much as I did to him. To be honest, he did make me feel pretty loved as well. But yeah, thank God that's over. If y'all watched till the end, thank you all for watching. I want to get more into long form content because I do have a lot of stories to share. Let me know what y'all think about this. DM me on Instagram. Mwah! Till next time.